Hi, welcome to the Connecticut Department of Transportation's virtual public information meeting regarding culvert replacements on Route 167 West Avon Road in the town of Farmington. The meeting will be regarding state project number 51275. My name is Scott Bushy and I'm the project manager. Tonight's presentation will last about 15 minutes. We'll review the project team members, the virtual meeting format. There'll be a presentation regarding the purpose and need for the project, the proposed design. We'll discuss rights of way needed for constructing the project, the actual construction of the project and maintaining traffic. Followed by that will be an opportunity for question and answer. The Department of Transportation representatives for this project are top left, Mr. Matthew Vail, Principal Engineer, Highway Design. Top middle, myself, Scott Bushy, Project Manager, Highway Design. Top right, Mr. Matthew Giannakopoulos, Project Coordinator, Office of Rights of Way. Bottom left, Mr. Byung Kim, Project Engineer, Highway Design. Bottom middle, Mr. Albert Yelda, Project Designer, Highway Design. An opportunity to ask questions will be held at the end of tonight's presentation. There will be 3 ways to submit questions to the project team: by email, by phone, and MS Teams chat. At the end of the presentation, I will cover the email address, the phone number, and procedures for using MS Teams chat to submit your questions. The design of this project, including tonight's meeting, is being held in conformance with Title VI Civil Rights. We have a feedback survey that would be appreciated if you have the time to complete it following the meeting. It's located at www.surveymonkey.com/r/95JC8DT. We also have a civil rights flyer available with additional information if anyone's interested. That can be found on the DOT website. No person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. The culverts being replaced are located on West Avon Road, Route 167, just north of Route 4 in the vicinity of the Farmington Lions Club. There are 2 culverts needing replacement. The northern culvert is located in the immediate vicinity of the Farmington Lions Club driveway. To the right on the slide, there are 2 pictures, one showing the culvert inlet and one showing the culvert outlet. The culvert outlet on the bottom right shows a deteriorated concrete head wall, obviously needing replacement. Both of these culverts are estimated to be in excess of 75 years old. The downstream culvert, the southern location, is in the vicinity of number 74 and 78 West Avon Road. This slide shows pictures of the culvert inlet and the culvert outlet, both head walls obviously spalled and deteriorated concrete needing replacement. This project is intended to alleviate the severity of the flooding as well as address maintenance needs. The proposed work will involve replacing the existing 48-inch culverts, resurfacing about 450 feet of Route 167, and upgrading the guide rail adjacent to the culverts. Shown on this slide are the new culverts. They're twin 48-inch concrete pipes placed side by side for increased hydraulic capacity. The light gray area on the roadway shows the limits of the resurfacing. The 2 48-inch culverts will be set side by side, significantly increasing hydraulic capacity. One pipe will be set about a foot lower than the other to create a low flow condition and better habitat for aquatic life. Roadside safety will be upgraded as part of this project by replacing the existing wood post cable guide rail with modern guide rail. The Department of Transportation is planning a detour in order to be able to accomplish this work. The large equipment needed to excavate the existing pipe and install the new pipe would use the bulk of the roadway width, making it very difficult for traffic to pass through the work area and us to work at the same time. Access to both driveways within the project limits will be maintained at all times during the detour from at least one direction. Farmington Lions Club, number 78 West Avon Road, and number 74 West Avon Road. Brickyard Road will be used as a detour to bypass the work area on West Avon Road. The additional travel time is estimated at 7 minutes depending on traffic congestion. It will result in an additional 4 miles of travel. The length of the detour is planned for 9 days. It will be 2 weekends and the 5 weekdays in between. The Department of Transportation will require the use of private property at 4 locations for placement of the culvert, constructability, and construction access. And now Matt Giannakopoulos, the department's right-of-way representative.
My name is Matt Giannakopoulos, and I am a project coordinator with the department's Division of Rights-of-Way. It is our office's responsibility to acquire the property rights needed for transportation projects. The proposed project design requires the acquisition of property rights, so I'd like to give a brief overview of the department's right-of-way acquisition process. Please keep in mind, though, that the specific impacts are still being fine-tuned and may change as the design progresses. Any property rights that will be required will be acquired in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes Sections 13A-73 and 13A-98E. Whenever there is federal money used in any aspect of a project, the department must adhere to the Uniform Relocation Assistance and Real Property Acquisition Policies Act of 1970 as amended. Once the design has moved to the point where we are ready to begin the acquisition process, each affected property owner will receive a formal letter of intent to acquire from our office, along with a property map which depicts the exact property rights to be acquired. At that point, our office will determine the fair market value of those property rights and use that value to establish an offer of just compensation. That offer will be sent out to the property owner in writing, and a right-of-way agent will be available to meet with the property owner and explain the project, go over the specific impacts to their property, and explain the state's offer. The property owner will have a reasonable time, typically at least 30 days, to consider the state's offer and enter into negotiations. When an agreement is reached, the states will prepare all the necessary paperwork and record the deed and the property map on the town land records. However, if negotiations reach an impasse, in order to keep everything on schedule, the department may acquire the necessary property rights through its power of eminent domain. In that event, the state files a notice of condemnation in the Superior Court, along with a monetary deposit in the amount of the state's offer. The owner would have 6 months from that date to file an appeal if they felt that the state's offer was inadequate. Whether or not the owner chooses to appeal, the money that was deposited in the court is available to be withdrawn by the owner, subject to the discretion of the Superior Court. I know a lot of people, when they hear the phrase eminent domain, thinks that it means the state just takes their property for $1. However, the owners are entitled to at least the state's original offer of just compensation, and the state only takes title to the property rights that are needed for the project. If there are any questions regarding the department's right-of-way acquisition process, I'd be happy to address them once the presentation has concluded.
The construction cost is estimated at $3.1 million. The work will be accomplished using 80% federal funds and 20% state funds. The work is planned for the summer of 2023, when we will have low flow conditions in the stream and best opportunities to manage the stream flow during construction.
Good evening, everyone. We are now going to begin the question and answer session. There will be 3 ways to submit a question: email, calling and leaving a voicemail, or Microsoft Teams chat. The project email is dotproject0051-0275@ct.gov. The phone number to call and leave a voicemail is 860-944-1111. Or you could submit a chat message here on Microsoft Teams. You can ask questions through email and voicemail until December 24th, 2020, and you can only leave Microsoft Teams questions during this presentation. If you want to ask a question with Microsoft Teams, I will go over the steps on how to do so. Near the top right of your screen, you will see a bubble with a question mark in it, and you will click that to open the live Q&A window. In this new window, click on the Featured tab, and on the bottom of the window, there will be a button that says Ask a Question. Click on that button to type and submit your question. There are also pictures on the screen that highlight these steps. All right, the first question that we got in the chat: how long will construction last?
The entire project is anticipated to last about 3 months, but that includes some utility work. It includes bringing materials to the project site, cleanup at the end, and resurfacing work. The bulk of the project will be done under a 9-day road closure, and that's when the new culverts will be installed. The retaining walls supporting the roadway, the head walls, those will be installed at that time. So the actual disruption to your community should really be limited predominantly to this 9-day road closure. Thank you for the question. And my name is Scott Bushy. I'm the project manager. I'll be addressing most of the questions at tonight's presentation.
The next question that we have in the chat, Scott, is how will I know when the detour will happen?
Thank you for that question. About 2 weeks before the detour starts, DOT will install changeable message signs. We'll install 2 of them. One at the intersection of Route 167 and Route 4 here, and another one at the intersection of Route 167 and Brickyard Road. We'll put the approximate dates for the detour to start on changeable message signs, and that'll alert the community as to when we anticipate the detour to start, and keep everyone informed of what's going on and when the road will be reopened.
Next question we have in the chat, why is a detour needed?
Thank you for the question. A detour is needed, as mentioned earlier in the project presentation, because of the narrow roadway that we have and narrow work area to be able to construct the project. If you look at the left side of my screen, I'll open this up a little bigger. There's kind of a steep slope on the left side of my screen in this picture. And then to the right, this is where the stream is. So there's really not much of an area off of the roadway for us to park construction equipment to be able to excavate, which means the excavator to be able to work has got to work within the roadway. That means for a pretty limited workspace. And if we tried to build this project a little bit at a time, working during the day with alternating one-way traffic, we would be out here for months and months, just because we couldn't maintain good productivity in trying to maintain traffic at the best time. And because of considering that, we really feel the best way to accomplish the project is with a detour, and just to do a 9-day road closure. We'll work all available time we have, excavate the roadway, put the pipes in, essentially get in and get out quick, and try to return your community to you as soon as possible without disruption. Thank you for the question.
Next question we have in the chat. We were led to believe that the project was scheduled for 2022. Why is the schedule slipping for another year? Flooding should not be allowed to persist for this long.
We've been coordinating with utility companies on the project, and in order to be able to construct the work, the utilities on, I'll zoom in this slide just a little bit here too. The utilities on the right side of the screen are going to need to be moved so that we can put in the head wall that goes underneath the wires on this downstream culvert. Utility work is going to take some time. In addition to that, we've been coordinating with our regulatory agencies who assign environmental permits to us. The DOT is bound by environmental permits from the DEEP, Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, and also the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, our federal agency and partners that are helping us with the project. Under those permit requirements, when we're working within the stream, we're required to do the work during low flow conditions, which they mandate June, July, or August. And the time at which it's going to take us to be able to acquire the environmental permits gives us a very limited work window for each year. And at the position we're at now, we would not be able to have enough time to advertise the project and be able to secure the permits and get the precast head walls completed during that summer work window of 2022. And that pushes us into the following year. And if you'd like to discuss that more with me following the meeting, I'll throw my contact information up again. But thank you for the question.
The next question in the chat, Scott, is why are the pipes being replaced?
The pipes are being replaced due to maintenance and flooding. If I go back to the beginning of the presentation, one of these slides here, let's see, it will help me answer the question. The pipes are estimated to be in excess of 75 years old. They're well beyond their design life and well beyond service life. We've essentially got our money's worth out of these culverts years ago. And if you look at the concrete and the head walls, it's spalling. It's obviously in need of maintenance replacement. And at the upstream culvert, we've got flooding that's been occurring on a pretty regular basis. And the level of the flooding is pretty severe. It's at a point where you can see the Lions Club driveway in the back, which is almost at the level of West Avon Road. So the flooding is not that far from overtopping the state highway. So it's a pretty significant need to address both replacement of the culverts due to maintenance. And as long as we're doing that, increase the hydraulic capacity to improve the flooding conditions and maintain passability of the state highway during a severe storm. Thank you for the question.
The next question on the chat is, what hours will the contractor be allowed to work during the closure?
Okay, thank you for that question. So I had mentioned the DOT was going to go to a detour in order to be able to construct the project. We want to do that work as efficiently and as quickly as possible to minimize the duration of the detour. At the moment, we've got 9 days, and we're pretty comfortable that we can replace both culverts during that 9-day work window. That's going to force a fairly aggressive schedule on the part of the contractor. I would expect him to be working weekends and extended hours. How late into the night, I can't guarantee at this point, but our objective is really to get the road back open, clear up this detour, and return your community to its normal conditions as soon as possible. In order to accomplish that, there may be some work for extended hours that does go into the night during that 9-day road closure. Thank you for the question.
To submit your question, you could email us at dotproject0051-0275@ct.gov. You could call and leave a voicemail at 860-944-1111. Or if you're on Microsoft Teams, you can ask a question in the chat window.
So folks, I want to thank everybody for attending tonight's meeting, giving us some feedback and asking questions. The comment opportunities are up here on the screen now. You'll be able to ask comments 2 weeks following this meeting. The video is going to be posted on the DOT website. It's also available on YouTube. And we're going to be here through the duration of this project to work with you. And I'm again going to put up my contact information. If anyone has questions beyond the 2-week comment period, I'm here to help you. My name is Scott Bushy, project manager. Phone number 860-594-2079, or my email address, scott.bushy@ct.gov. And you could get that off the video on YouTube as well. But if anytime you have questions, want more information on the project, please give me a call. I'm happy to come out and meet with you or speak with you on the phone or exchange email.
All right, Scott, we got another question in the chat. In the initial view of the upgraded guide rails, the rail does not curve around the driveway at 74 and 78 West Avon Road as the current wooden poles do today. Will that be corrected?
Thank you for asking that question, and it's something that we're currently working on. With the initial design we had on the culverts, and if you could see where my arrow is in the mouse right now, this is where the culverts are going to go, right underneath the corner of that driveway. And this railing, the metal posts extend pretty deep. So our standard guide rail design that would tend to wrap around the driveway here wasn't working. And we're having to come up with a customization to make that work. And we're in the process of doing that. And I have confidence we'll be able to get that to work as a final product when the contract goes out. But for now, we had left the guide rail here with an impact attenuator just short of the driveway, but we do plan to correct that with a customization to our standard to get it to wrap around the driveway. But thank you for that question.
The next question we have in the chat, will we still have access to the Lions Club?
Yes, the answer is yes, and thank you for that question. So all three properties within the limits of the work, we have the Lions Club, we have number 78 West Avon Road, and also number 74 West Avon Road that share a common driveway. All properties within the project limits will have access at all times. It may be a gravel travel path with, 1 lane wide gravel, and it may be from only one direction. So there may be times when you can only get in from the south because this part of the road is completely excavated, or you may only be able to get in from the north just because of where equipment is parked and where the contractor's working. But part of the contract requirements will be to maintain access at all times, and there will be at least 1 lane width into the Lions Club and into the shared driveway. Thank you for the question.
Next question is, what can be done between now and 2023 to mitigate the erosion of the stream and the flooding levels?
Thank you for the question. The answer is monitoring. We'll monitor it, and if we see something significant occurring, the good news is that we've got the design well underway. We've got the pipe sized hydraulically. We're just in the environmental permitting process, and we're working to acquire the rights of way needed to be able to install the pipes. So if we were to get into an emergency condition, severe storm, something like that, and we had to address this immediately, we have the design, we know what the pipes need to be, and that's something that we could get emergency authorization for and address this immediately if that opportunity came about. But at the moment, this is not at emergency status. But thank you for the question.
Send a question. You could email it to us at dotproject0051-0275@ct.gov. You could call and leave a voicemail at 860-944-1111, or you could leave your message in the Microsoft Teams chat window. If you have questions and you don't want to ask them now, you could ask them via email and voicemail until December 24th, and we will respond to you and get an answer to your question.
And again, beyond the contact information for the Q&A for tonight's meeting that Albert read, I'm going to put my contact information up here again. Scott Bushy, Project Manager, 860-594-2079, or by email, scott.bushy@ct.gov. And I'm here to work with you throughout the duration of the project. So, don't feel like there's not an opportunity to speak with DOT after the next 2 weeks. That's certainly not the case.
We got a voicemail question from the property owner of 78 West Avon Road. At what point will the details for the temporary and repave of the permanent driveways be made and put in writing?
Thank you for writing in with or calling in with that question. If you can see here on this slide, this is at number 74 and 78. We've got shown here a temporary driveway, and that's pretty close to where we're going to build that for you. We've been on the site, we've taken some measurements, we've looked at the grades, we have survey. And while we're working on the culvert and this part of the roadway is excavated, this is approximately where your driveway is going to be. And that's something, if you're interested in having us come out and stake it, so you have stakes placed exactly where it's going to go, we can do that. We can provide you with plans to go with the stakes, measure it out, meet with you. I'm more than happy to do that. And this will be something also that you'll have another opportunity to discuss when our rights-of-way agent comes out to meet with you. So we'll be working on acquiring drainage rights-of-way to be able to install the culvert. And you can see here there's a small portion that's just over the state right-of-way here. And when that occurs, we'll have a map. discussing this area, and we'll be coming out to meet with you. That'll be Matt Giannakopoulos, but I'll be here as well if there are questions concerning the driveway. And we certainly can come out, stake that, provide you with plans, and meet you with that, meet with you about that. And this isn't something that I would anticipate you're going to be using for very long. You know, as I mentioned, we have a 9-day road closure. The culverts would be installed during those 9 days. Then the roadway patched, and shortly after we'll be milling and then repaving this whole section here to clean up any disruption from the work area. And as soon as the culvert goes back in and the roadway's passable, you'll be able to use your existing driveway again, which will all be rebuilt under construction because we'll be excavating this area. So this will be all new for your driveway. And when we rebuild that one, we'll take the old one out. Thank you for the question. And again, if you want to talk with me further about that, Scott Bushy, my phone number is 860-594-2079. I'm happy to come out and meet with you at your property and discuss further. Folks, again, I want to thank you for attending tonight's meeting and working with us on the project and asking a lot of good questions tonight. The recording of tonight's presentation will be available on the DOT website. It's also available on YouTube. There's about a 2-week comment period, which we're looking for comments specific to tonight's meeting. But again, my contact information is here, Scott Bushy, project manager, and anytime throughout the next couple of years while we're working on a project together, feel free to call me. More than happy to talk with you about the project and even come out to your property and meet with you and discuss concerns you may have. We'll give it just a couple of more minutes and see if any more questions come in. Again, I'll put up the slide showing the final condition. Just a quick review while we're waiting to see if any more questions come in. So, you know, here's the final condition. We're resurfacing the road. This is this gray area. We're going to be putting in 48-inch pipes. That'll be 2 of them placed side by side. That almost doubles the hydraulic capacity that's there today. The existing pipe's only a single 48. So that will alleviate the flooding. These culverts will be there for many, many years to come, likely much longer than the existing ones that are there now. That will leave this area in a state of good repair. We shouldn't see the flooding anymore. All the guide rail along the roadway is all going to be updated with modern metal guide rail. And the intent is, yes, we're working to wrap this around the driveway. We don't have those details resolved yet, but that is our plan. The work will be done under a 9-day road closure. Here's the detour plan. The detour uses Brickyard Road to bypass the work area on West Avon Road. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll be putting out the changeable message signs at each end of Route 167. These will be the big black signs in the trailer with the lights on them that have messages. And these will be posted about 2 weeks before we start the detour. It'll have the initial start of the detour and intent of reopening the roadway. Our contract is going to go out to bid, allowing a 9-day road closure, and we'll have liquidated damages on that if it's not completed within that time period. So that'll allow us to restore your roadway as soon as possible and bring your community back to the way it is without so much disruption. Albert,
we got another question in the chat. What about re-landscaping the area once it's completed?
That's also something we have in the works. So let me a second to go to the slide. That's part of our environmental permitting process, and we will be replanting these areas around the head wall, at the inlet and the outlet of the stream. So areas where vegetation is removed to be able to construct these new culverts on each end, we'll be doing some restorative work in these areas. And the landscape design plan is something that we would have much later into the design process. At the point we're at now, we call this 30% design. And we intentionally don't go too far with the design effort, so that when we come out to the public involvement process, there's still plenty of opportunity to include your comments and things that you might want to do with the project. You know, it wouldn't be advantageous for us to bring this to a 90% design effort and then come out and say, hey, what do you think? You know, we'd like to get out and talk with you early and address your concerns before we get too far along. So, but landscaping is definitely going to be part of the project as a restorative effort when the culverts are completed. If you're interested in seeing the landscape plan or working with us on it, just retain my contact info and maybe send me an email when we have the landscape plan available. It's going to be quite some time from now, but when we have the landscape plan available, I'd be happy to share it with you. Again, scott.bushy@ct.gov. Any more questions, Albert?
Doesn't look like it right now.
Okay, so once again, I'll thank everybody for attending tonight's meeting. I'll give it just another minute or two, and then I think we're going to wrap up for the night. But again, I appreciate everyone for spending your evening with us and helping us with the project. For those that live in the immediate project vicinity, we're going to be working with you again through the right-of-way process, and we'll be in touch. At any time you have more questions, please just send me an email or give me a call. I'm happy to come out and meet with you, and I can leave you with final plans. I can do stakeout near your properties to show where the new culverts are going and talk about driveway reconstruction and things like that. And you know, I'll be here for some time working with you on the project. Anything else, Albert?
Yeah, we got one question. What is the inlet elevation in the existing condition versus the proposed low flow condition?
Thank you for that question. So I don't have an exact elevation as far as a number to give you in the presentation, and if that's something that you actually need the survey information for some reason, please write in by email, and I'll get you the coordinates for the head wall, exactly where it's going to go, and I can get you the elevation. But the important part of the question that I want to answer and respond to make clear is that as far as hydraulic capacity, we will be doubling the size of the existing culvert by making this twin 48-inch pipes. The existing one is only a single 48-inch pipe. We're going to be putting back two, and one of these pipes is going to be set 1 foot lower than the existing pipe. And the reason for that is to increase low flow in the pipe and in the adjacent stream sections during the summertime. So we want to make sure that we have adequate depth in these areas. And by reducing the elevation of one of these pipes a foot lower than the other, that's going to allow for a depth of flow in the stream and will be better for any aquatic life in the area. And that's something that we work on with the DEEP Fisheries and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and also U.S. Fish and Wildlife, who's all part of this process. And that's kind of something that we've agreed to with them already in our preliminary permitting work. But I hope I answered your question adequately. If you need more information, please send me an email and I will get you the exact elevation from our survey. Any more questions, Albert?
Doesn't look like there's any that are coming in.
Okay, so again, I'll thank everyone for attending tonight's meeting. Put up the comment slide one more time. Anything you want to write in following tonight's meeting at our project email, dotproject0051-0275 @ct.gov. You can write in additional comments up to the following 2 weeks. And after that, please feel free to reach out to me at my contact information I left you. I'm happy to help you at any time. And I guess that will conclude tonight's meeting. So again, thanks for sharing your evening with us and helping us out with this project. And everyone have a good night and be safe.
And please complete our survey. You will see the link on the screen. And if you're watching on YouTube, it'll be below the video.
All right. Thank you, everyone.